Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu pakhera gale ni hao chunashumme washmale. Ohai gonzaimas, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. Buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya. Hoş geldin and I say khuyamora chivatto chi halyot kalimera khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PT World and watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and I hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your Friday morning with us. But first things first, Jummah Mubarak to each and every one of you. Please make sure that every single day when you wake up, you should know that you are resetting, and for whatever you were not able to change yesterday, you have the ability to change it today. And with that thought, ladies and gentlemen, today, it's a very different environment over here from the usual that you used to. But today we have a very special guest who's actually joining us all the way from Qatar. And not just that, I think if we are to speak about Qatar and Pakistan and the relationships that both the brotherly countries enjoy, it's something really special. Imagine that both the countries have backed each other, may it be about territorial integrity, may it be about sovereignty. But today it has to do something with the people of Qatar and how they've been represented at the global front. Imagine that what if I tell you that there's this lady all the way from Qatar who's actually summited 8,000 plus peaks out of 14. And not just that, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to this, she's actually championing equality for all, for each and every individual who's out there. And she happens to be the first ever Arab woman to complete the Explorers Grand Slam last October. I'm really lucky that I'll be in conversation with her because she will not just inspire a lot of women in Pakistan, but globally. I'm really lucky that I've been joined by Her Excellency, Sheikha Asma Al Thani. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful to have you over here, and for me to kind of go through the entire journey that you've had, summiting 8,000 plus peaks all over the globe. Obviously, 5 are in Pakistan, 6 in Nepal, and 3 in China. Seems like you're on a great mission. But first things first, congratulations for summiting Nanga Parbat. How was it, and how do you feel?
I'm very, very humbled, actually. Nanga Parbat has been an amazing mountain. It's a very, very technical mountain named the Killer Mountain.
Yes.
I wasn't ready for that much rockfall, but I actually enjoyed climbing it, and very, very happy to be back down.
Exactly, that's wonderful. Obviously, you know, but for someone who actually belongs to Qatar, you happens to represent the royal family of Qatar as well, Your Excellency. And for any individual who's out there, because we go out in 46 different countries, imagine born where, you know, you might get to know or fascinate about sand dunes, but here's someone who's actually thinking about, you know, summiting all the top 8,000 plus peaks in the world. How did that happen?
So if I tell you it happened by surprise.
Okay.
Let me give you a bit of background. I am the only daughter in a family of 3 boys. So I have 3 brothers, and as a young girl, I always used sports as a way to express myself, right? Who was faster, who was stronger, who played football better, who played basketball better. And it was a way that I was able to express myself. And as a young girl, I always wanted to be either an athlete or an artist, and somehow I fell into mountaineering.
Wow.
But I created a list for myself as a young girl, and in that list, there were things that I wrote that at that time, I never thought that I could actually achieve, but it's something that I wanted for myself. And there are many simple things in that car, as simple as drive a car. I wanted to drive a car because all my brothers will drive a car, you know. And I found that letter in 2013. And as I found that letter, I started to tick out the things I actually achieved. Graduate university, done. Master's degree, done. Drive a car, done. And then as I was going down the list, it says climb a mountain. And there I circled that, and I said, I think that is next. And then I embarked on a journey in Kilimanjaro with my cousin, and from then on,
you've been going on.
I've been going on.
So if you don't mind, would you mind if I ask you, you know, what were the other things on your bucket list which you have ticked by far? You know, so maybe driving a car, maybe.
I think I need to go back to that list again
All right,
after I'm done with the 14.
I will not trouble you with that. But, you know, since obviously, so that means that you've drawn inspiration out of competitiveness, you know, if I may not be wrong, because, you were the only sister with brothers, you know, it'd be basketball, maybe who runs fast and whatnot. but it could have been the mountains, which are not 8,000 meters plus, so why go to that extreme?
So
That's something for me to understand.
So when I started in Kilimanjaro, to be honest, in the beginning, I wasn't a person that that liked discomfort. I loved the comfort of my home, the comfort of everything around me. But when I went into to Kilimanjaro, and that was my first mountain, I was already thrown into being uncomfortable, and I realized that I was thriving. I was learning new things. The uncomfortable things became easier. And when I came back home, a lot of things became not a priority anymore, and I was able to focus on what's important, and that really helped me grow. And as I continued into that journey, I went to the South and to the North Pole with a group of women from the Arab world and Europe to build those cross-cultural ties, but doing something that was extreme. We went to the North Pole where none of us had the experience of the North Pole. It was the first time for all of us.
True.
We guided ourselves. We did everything on our own. But it was all to break those cultural barriers to learn more about each other's cultures and to let us understand and have that cultural dialogue. And as I kept on climbing, I was learning a lot more about the world. Once I did the North Pole, I honestly, I said I will never climb Everest. But in 2019, I went to Everest Base Camp.
Yep.
And on the way, I was standing with my cousin Muhammad bin Abdullah, who actually took me to Kilimanjaro for my first climb. And we were both standing on Everest view and looking straight at Everest. And he told me, I don't know how I did this. Like, he was the first Qatari man to climb Everest. And I looked at it and I said, that will be my next. And I enjoyed the process of 8,000ers. The 8,000er mountains are a completely different game. It's about patience. It's about letting go of control. It's about being ready at any time. Coming as a person who works at a very fast-paced job.
True.
I love my calendar. I love my lists. I love to be able to get things done. But on the mountains, you forget the days.
True. It's just a complete shut-off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for me, I love that because you're in the moment and living day by day. When it's nighttime, you go to sleep. When the sun comes up, you wake up. It's not a matter of alarm and for me, that stripping down to that really gives me the meaning of life.
I mean, it's great that that you found yourself the meaning of life. Leaving behind the comfort of your home, having a purpose, something to look forward to. It has helped a lot of individuals. And speaking about Nanga Parbat now and your summit, obviously, I think that you're going to kind of have that aura of inspiring a lot of other women that they
Yes.
can do that,
Yes.
break that cultural barrier,
Yes.
break those norms. Or at times we do call them that, that these are unfortunately generational menaces that
Yes.
go around with people, unfortunately.
Yes.
And for you to be ambassador for that is great. But, there needs to be some sort of preparation before you,
Yes.
you decide that you're going to go on and, summit the 8,000 plus peaks and continue to do so, that you become the first lady, from the Arab world who's actually summited all 9 out of the 14 8,000 plus peaks. So did you prepare for it? Do you think that your first ever expedition or summit actually gave you that courage? And when you were standing right in front of the Mount Everest, looking eye into eye, you were like, hey, you know what? I need to do that. So what sort of confidence is required to kind of do that?
I think it's believing in yourself. I think when you climb a mountain, I always wanted to climb a mountain strong. So for me, I enjoy the fact of research. I love understanding my body, understanding what my body needs, the type of fueling, the type of training to be able to do such things.
Yep.
Like you said, I come from a flat land, right? I come from a land, maybe the highest part.
I was juggling whether I should say that or not, but I said
yes,
it.
It's 100 meters above sea level, maybe.
True.
And how do I get my body to be ready for something that's 8,000 and above? 8,000 meters are considered the death zone.
Takes everything away from you.
Exactly. So for me, it's a lot. I think one of it is believing in yourself, having confidence in every step that you take, trusting your gear, trusting your legs, trusting the body that Allah has given you, but as well having the right team around you. Without the right team, things are not impossible. You could never do this alone.
Exactly.
And one important thing for me was putting that team together, putting the team of people that will climb with me, and I climb with the same people since I started. And for me, that's very important because you build that relationship with them. You understand them, they understand you, and you're each other's lifeline.
Exactly.
So you know how to climb that mountain, and that gives you leverage.
And at times it's really challenging for people to get the right team. I will come to that bit. But why did you decide Nanga Parbat, the killer mountain this year? A lot of people have actually died while trying to summit this peak in the early 20th century. And even now, I think within the winter expedition, it's still very challenging. But for you to kind of do it, it's a great achievement. Congratulations. But how did you decide, and then how did you plan?
So Nanga Parbat is again on my journey to complete the 14 8,000ers. After climbing, so I started my first 8,000er was an attempt to Everest, which I have not been able to complete. And then based on that, I changed everything and started the 8,000ers again. I climbed Manasulu without oxygen and Dhaulagiri in 2021. And then I decided, you know, I can do this and I'm enjoying it so much that why not complete the 14? And so this year, the plan is to actually complete the 14. So
all 14?
All 14.
Within this year?
Within this year.
That's very ambitious.
So I did climb Nanga Parbat, and I'll be heading back to the mountains.
Yeah, Gashabram 1 and Gashabram 2, if that's next.
And Broad Peak.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because obviously imagine that, you know, for us to be born over here, once, you know, I'm going to share this with you, my brother-in-law, he came to me and he was like, you know what, I'm actually going to go to Mount Everest base camp. And my father, all of a sudden, his father-in-law, stood up and was like, you need to prepare for it and you just cannot go out like this, and it's really dangerous. So how do you get rid of that danger element? Is that your faith and tawakkul on Allah Almighty? Yes. Or is it your preparedness, then second and then third? And then, you know, how do you go about it?
So there are two things that are not within our control, right? The day we are born and the day we die.
Yes.
It's going to happen whether we like it or not. That I know. So I make sure that I have the right team and take the necessary steps for safety. I do not take shortcuts. I do not like shortcuts. So I take everything as it comes. But at the same time, tawakkul billah is very, very important. True. Knowing that I have Allah who will protect me, and knowing that if it is my day today, it is my day. And it's just a matter of knowing the right things. Some people do take risks, right? Again, it's a balance. Everybody says, I take a risk by climbing. And I understand that I do take a risk, but I also understand that you can take a risk, but also take it in the correct way,
and that
knowing that you've done everything correctly. And then if anything else happens, that's beyond your control.
So take us through the journey now. You know, how was it? Was it difficult? Was it challenging somewhere? Did you feel like giving up? You were like, okay, let's go back to the base camp now. How was it? Take us through.
So with Nanga Parbat, to be honest, to the point that I've reached now, physically I'm a lot stronger than I've ever been. I was able to understand what my body needed to be able to get to where. So I was very, very excited. However, what I didn't expect was the black ice on Nanga Parbat. Now, what I mean with black ice is that you hit your crampon as hard as you can, but it never sticks and you slip. And no matter what you do, and with me, I try my best, but it's not strong enough.
Yep.
And so going up, it was quite tough. I enjoyed the summit push. However, once we reached closer to the summit, the wind started to pick up. It was about 65 kilometers an hour. So that's another thing that was beyond our control, because every single weather report said it would be 5 kilometers an hour wind. So we were anticipating great weather. Yeah. But on the mountains, you also learn to always be prepared for the worst, right? True. So how you pack your clothes, how you wear your clothes, what you do, what you have with you, you should always be prepared for
the worst.
For the worst, right? So I was prepared. For me, that was fine. I would get up, I would get pushed by the wind, I'd get up again and then figure out a way where I can climb without the wind pushing me. What was dangerous, I think, on Nanga Parbat was the rockfall. I think it was a lot drier than it has ever been, a lot less snow, which made it a lot more dangerous. But that also meant that we needed to be a lot more alert.
Exactly.
Our strategy coming down was different, waiting for others to leave, and then we come after a day later. So we stayed a day extra on the mountains, just to ensure safety.
Why would you do that?
Because sometimes when people are climbing, they lose energy, and when they lose energy, they lose focus.
Yeah.
And when they lose focus, mistakes happen.
True.
And a lot of rock fall. And there's a part that you would cross on Nanga Parbat that is quite dangerous because you're in the middle of literally rock just falling and you need to avoid it. So for safety purposes, we waited an extra day, waited until everyone was safely down into base camp, then we went on our way down.
Wow.
So that's a step that I took to be able to.
That's more towards, you know, being more humane towards people.
Yes,
you know?
yes, and but what difficulty I faced was on Nanga Parbat as well. I fell down an ice wall 30 meters, and was caught by my guide. I slipped because the black ice. I did not have the energy to hit the crampon, and as much as I tried,
It didn't happen.
it didn't happen, and I just fell down.
And what did you think when you were falling down? Because this might be the most challenging part of your
For
expedition.
me, it was quite shocking because I did not know what was happening. But then once I was settled, where my guide caught me, I realized that I fell. I realized that I injured my arm. But I also realized that I still need to go down. I'm still in danger because
Yeah.
I'm still in the part
So
where
you need to continue.
I need to continue. And that's one of the things that I'm grateful for, because I was able to understand that I could do it through my injury. I did not give up. I did cry 2 hours coming down as if I was a little child going to school but not wanting to go to school. But I was in pain, and I had to let it out. I did not hold it in. And that's part of the climb as well, where you let go of all the ego, you let go of, you know, that image of being strong, and just like letting it pass, and that was making it easier for me to climb.
And realizing that everything is not in our control.
It's not in our control. We're fragile. Life is not. There's a limit to life. One day it's gone. How do we make use of it, and how do we live it to its best? You know.
And you're making the best use of your life. You know, you're
Inshallah.
advocating
I hope
as well.
so.
Alhamdulillah,
I hope so.
you are. Because not just that, I would want to bring in my Honorable Prime Minister, Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif Saab as well, because he has actually named you as the brand ambassador for Pakistan's mountains and tourism. So how do you feel about that? You know, our Honorable Prime Minister referring to you as the ambassador of our mountains and tourism.
I am very, very honored. It's a great honor to be given that title, and to be honest, I want the world to see what I see. There's so much beauty in this world. There's so much beauty in Pakistan. And people are too afraid to step out of their comfort zone, right? To go and see, to explore, and I guess it's not only people outside, but some people in Pakistan are too afraid to actually go to the mountains. Like you said, you were afraid to go and climb, right?
True.
But I've seen such beautiful nature. I've met such amazing people, so kind, so hospitable, and for me, it just felt like I was home, and that's what the mountains feel like. It's very raw, it's very friendly, it can take a turn to the worst, but mostly it's that.
Thank you so much for saying that. And you know, with that, you know, our Prime Minister congratulating you for your summit of Nanga Parbat and for what you've achieved so far. What still stays in my head is that, you know, when you had a fall, you continued your journey down, you were crying, but you never gave up. I think that's something, that's the thought that everybody needs to listen to. As of now, that in life there will be different occasions.
Yes.
You might not be on mountains, it
Yes.
might be just simple life.
Yes.
You know, it's just like our heartbeat, which goes up, it comes down. That's how life is. So what were you continuously telling yourself that, you know, Asma, this is something that you need to do, please keep on pushing?
Yes. I kept on saying to myself, I need to go down. One of the things that I do as well is I promise my family because, again, I do take a risk, but at the same time, I do have a family that I want to come back to.
True.
I do have my brothers, my father, my mother, my nieces and nephews, and for me, I do want to come back home.
Obviously.
So it's just a matter of reminding myself that there are people back home waiting for you, and reminding that, you know, you could keep on going. If your legs are still moving, you keep on going. Yes, I was in pain, but I was still able to continue. And I think a bit of adrenaline kicked that pain to the curb a little bit. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think it's just reminding myself that I needed to go down. You see, I had an interesting experience in Annapurna. Annapurna was one of those, another dangerous mountain, another mountain that has the same title as Nanga Parbat. And it was a very, very difficult mountain. And there was a point on top of that, after the summit, where I decided that I felt like I could not go on. And I sat down and told my guide to...
While you were ascending or descending?
Descending.
Okay.
And I said, you can leave me because I cannot do another. It was about 21 meters up, 21 hours summit push up, and then another 19 down. So I was exhausted. It was about a 32-hour summit push, and I had enough, and my body was tired. I was really, really sick, and these are one of the things where people give up on the way down, not on the way up, because they're more tired on the way down. Their legs hurt, their body hurts. And I sat down and I told my guide, I think you should leave me because I don't think I physically can go down. And he said, no, you need to go down. And I said, I can't. I really can't. And then he told me, I said, I'm really tired. And he looks at me and he says, I am tired too. And that just snapped me out of it. I said, okay, fine. He's tired also. We're tired together. And we continued going down. But that moment made me take a break from mountaineering because I realized that I was ready to give up.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. And I had to go back and figure out why I was ready to give up. And that's one of the things that also I've learned, that when I came to Nanga Parbat, I've already passed that, but I was able to continue and push myself through it.
I think that's great that that you actually realized that there was a point in your life while you were descending from your summit, knowing that that there was something wrong and that you need to kind of reflect upon this, recognize it first,
yes,
work on that, and then come back. If you don't mind, would you mind sharing it, that that you did realize, because you just mentioned that you did realize what was wrong and then you had to overcome that and then come back for the next summit?
So being a mountaineering, being in a ecosystem that there's a lot of competition, and sometimes you lose track of why you started in the first place. When I started, it was not about completing the 14 8,000ers. It was not about time. It was not about records. It was about discovering who I was. Every time I went on the mountain, I was able to strip something and learn something about myself that I've never learned before. And I lost that because it started to become more about everybody wants to get to the summit. And I had to come back home. I needed to be with family to understand that. And I think it took me about 7-8 months before I started thinking about wanting to come back to the mountains to be able to come and climb. But yes, it was just a matter of understanding, going back to why I started and remembering that and honoring that, rather than going with the flow of everybody wanting
and forgetting everything. And
exactly.
So it's more about always staying true to the purpose, which will always make you or give you that element of keep on pushing. Now let's talk about Pakistan specifically.
Yes.
While you were on your summit to Nanga Parbat, how was the support staff, the people who were over here?
Oh, it was amazing. I had the best base camp team. Since I landed in Pakistan, I was supported by everyone, to be honest, and I'm very thankful and grateful for that. Once I got to base camp, I had the best setup, the best food. I was eating lunch today, and I was talking to my guide, and I said, I miss base camp food. So we had great support. Everyone was very friendly, very helpful, wanting you to succeed. And understanding that climbing a mountain like Nanga Parbat is not an easy feat.
True.
So they respected that, they honored that, but they also wanted you to reach the top and come back down safely.
Exactly, but that's wonderful. Congratulations on doing that as well. Thank you so much for staying true to that purpose. I'm actually going to head out towards a short break. When we come back, we will certainly ask about your busy calendar, and then how do you make sure that that you fulfill your responsibilities as Your Excellency. And then, how do you keep up with mountaineering? So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really lucky to be in conversation with Her Excellency Sheikha Asma Al Thani. Please don't go anywhere. We will be right back. She's an inspiration. She's a source of inspiration for all of those people who've just been thinking what our purpose in life is. Let's do this. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned with us. You're certainly watching World this morning. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and I'm still in conversation with the legendary, the most mentally strong, and not just that, the person who's been living with purpose, ladies and gentlemen, Sheikha Asma Al Thani. We're still in conversation. She just submitted Nanga Parbat. Not just that, ladies and gentlemen, she happens to be the first Arab lady to have submitted 9 8,000 plus peaks out of 14. Not just that, ladies and gentlemen, she has multiple contributions in different fields as well, from different walks of life. But from here onwards, I would want to have a conversation which is more meaningful for people who are out there. Now imagine that, Your Excellency, you happen to be an ambassador for not just Arab women, but women all over the globe. You know, so we, most of the time what we do is that we confuse, you know, Muslim women and women, or Muslim men and men. How do you make sure that, you know, that every journey or every step that you take towards your purpose will actually, or probably for future generations, they will be able to reflect upon and learn what a purpose needs to be in life?
So let me tell you a little story.
Sure.
Before I went to the North Pole, my family created a film, an inspirational film or a motivational film. So whenever I felt like giving up, I would look at that film and get inspired. And a lot of the members of my family, friends, people at work, they all collaborated with each other to make that film for me. And one of the things that stood out for me was my little niece, who was at that time maybe 4 years old.
Okay.
And she said, Asma, look, I want to show you how I am brave and strong like you. And she jumps on the monkey bars and says, Bismillah, and starts swinging through the monkey bars. And to me, that I felt like I've reached my goal, because if I was able to let someone like my cousin, my niece Hassa, believe that she's climbing her own mountain, and that was the monkey bars, and have the courage to be able to swing through it, then I've done it, right? And for me, that is the case. Is telling the story is very, very important, making it accessible for people to know, but also showcasing the hardships of it, how to get there, and supporting wherever we can. And for me, it's about inspiring everyone. It's about showing people that if I was able to dream as a 13-year-old girl who wrote climb a mountain or drive a car in her little list, and I was able to achieve it, then anyone else can. And sometimes people judge a book by its cover. They would see something and not understand the process that we go through.
How challenging is that process?
It is very challenging.
And to get rid of all of those shackles, your cultural barriers, you know.
To be honest, for me, people usually think that it's all about rebellion. I don't think that's the case. I believe that when, as a woman or as a person that wants change, you always do that with conversation, no matter where you are, and dialogue. And with me and my family, being the only daughter, I needed to understand why my father is why did my father say no? And in the beginning, my father would say no, right? And it was out of fear, out of worry, out of fear that I'm his only daughter, going to the mountains alone, weather, anything, and that's very, very scary. So how could I check every single part of his fear to be able to get him to be okay with it? At least for me to step. And that's with everything in life, right? When people say no or close a door, there's always a window. But you also need to understand you can't do things by force. You have to understand the other person. You need to understand why
where they're coming from.
Where they're coming from. And for me, that helped me a lot. Once I understood that, and I understood that it comes out of love, it
True.
comes out of fear, it comes out of, and they have the right to do that. They're my mom and dad, you know. So how do I answer all of that and showcase? One of it is promising that if it gets really, really tough and I know that it's not safe, I turn around. And I've turned around from so many mountains, and then I had to do them so many times. So I stay true to that, and I put, you know, because sometimes people say, well, I'm on that challenge, I really need to do it, nobody understands, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not the case.
It's not like that. And you know, I'm going to share my story as well. So
Yes.
imagine I'm a father to 3 lovely daughters.
Yes.
The youngest one is actually 5 years old, and she's prone to allergies. And
Yes.
imagine that, you know, within this weather, we're monsoon, we do have a lot of allergies around. There are a lot of insects when you take them to the park. And every day she wants to go to the park. As a father, just about the park, she would come up to me every single day, be like, Dad, please can you take me to the park? And I'm scared in myself, in my skin, knowing that she's so prone to allergies. What if I take her out and if she falls ill? That'll be challenging for me to know that my daughter is not doing well. So I think thank you so much for saying that. And for people who are out there, we're going out in 46 different countries, and people, you know, I think Her Highness or Her Excellency have actually mentioned very rightfully that what you need to do is that you need to understand where they're coming from. And it's not always, you know, oh, it's not challenging or it was challenging or whatnot, but it can be a place of love,
Exactly.
place of care.
Yes.
And, you know, there can be so many things in a father's mind, in a mother's mind, in a brother's mind,
Yes.
you know, for their only sister.
Yes.
And Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with 7 sisters as well. They've been looking after me really well. So to grow up among sisters, I've learned one thing, Your Excellency, and that is that, you know, that the love and care a mother or a sister can give is second to none, which is why a brother will always come from a place of love, or a
Yes.
father will always come from a
Exactly.
place of love.
Exactly.
And while we are at it now, let's talk about, because right at the beginning you did mention how you love that your calendar really needs to be busy. So if it's busy, but it's so busy already that you really need to take out time for your expeditions, and you're going to go for Gashabram 1 and Gashabram 2, and you want to summit all the 14 peaks within 2025, inshallah.
Inshallah.
You've done 9 already. So how do you manage your workload? How do you balance it? There might be so many other things going on.
Yes, there's a lot going on, but I believe that there's so much time in a day. There's so much time that we have that we do not really use in the right way. For me to be able to, I have a full-time job. I work on many projects, many demanding projects, and to be able to manage, be it training or time with family, because there needs to be balance. You can't just cut one thing out. You really need to be disciplined in the time that you have during the day. So if you sleep for 8 hours, you'll have quite some time. You'll have about what, 16 hours a day that you can quietly use. 16 hours is a lot.
Yeah.
But if you use it correctly. So for me, I would plan my trainings early in the morning or later in the evening, and be disciplined to the calendar that I have to be able to reach to where I got. It's not easy.
Yep.
But I needed to stick true to that. So if I'm training, I'm training. If I would sometimes
It's more
even
discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah. So how do you, because at times you do feel like, you know, we're all humans. At times you do feel like that, okay, you know, I might not diet for today, might want a little dessert, I might not go for training, I feel like skipping, I feel like sleeping, I feel like staying in my comfort zone. Do you give yourself
Yes.
the liberty to do that?
I plan my breaks.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful.
I plan my rest, which is very important as
Yep.
well, because your body needs the rest and needs the fuel to be able to get. So you can't do something on top of something else, right? I can't train for long hours but not feed myself. So I needed to learn that balance, and that it's also discipline. So when it's time to eat, it's time to eat. When it's time to be with family, it's time to be with family. And I had to really be disciplined in
Then
that.
that means that you can never be impulsive in nature. You know, it always needs to come from a place of discipline.
Yes.
Yeah, so it can be, okay, I feel like doing this today. Okay, you know, let's
Yes.
go probably.
For now, I can't.
Obviously,
For
because
now
you're
I
in Pakistan, we're the most
Not just
hospitable.
Pakistan,
Yes.
but because I have this goal.
Wow.
So it's a matter of prioritizing what's important. I think in life in general, if you know what you want, you will get there. If you don't know what you want, you will not get there.
Yeah, you'll always.
But if you want to get to where you want, you need to prioritize, and you need to have that balance. Our cultures are very, very similar, right?
True.
Family is very important. Spending time with family is very important. So at one time of my life, I did not even have time to spend with my family because I was working so much. I barely had time to train, and I still wanted to go and climb. But I realized that that's not the right way to go for it, right? Because they also have the right to have time with me, to sit with me, so that I can actually just gain that energy that I need, right? So I learned how to balance that and structure it for myself to be able to get to where I am today.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for saying that. And I keep on telling this to my friends as well, that discipline is really important if you want to be somewhere in life. But now imagine that in addition to this, we do know how Qatar, alhamdulillah, hosted the FIFA World Cup 2022 and how important sports diplomacy is.
Yes.
How do you think your responsibility is as a Qatari princess on your shoulders to make sure that you give out the message to the world that sports diplomacy plays a pivotal role, and it's not just for men, but for women, equally important?
Yes. I think a sport, as you all know, has the power to transform lives. Sports is very, very powerful. It's very inspiring. When people sit, I've never sat in a venue and hear a venue go so quiet because of a 100-meter race where 60,000 people just completely quiet waiting.
True.
And it does have that power. And I believe that as I did the North Pole, where we use the North Pole as an expedition where none of us have gone to the North Pole to break those cultural barriers, we can do that through sports. What's important is equal opportunity. What's important is providing safe spaces for people to participate in sport and finding that sustainable approach to sports, right? But it really, I believe that it really, as it has done for me, is give a person the motivation, the inspiration, the confidence to continue in life.
Well, I think it's beautiful as well, and since my profession actually involves sports broadcast journalism as well, so I do know how a lot of cricket tournaments are taking place in Qatar as well, and a lot of teams are flying and players are flying out from Pakistan and all over the globe, and how you've built up on that sports diplomacy, and it's great. Let's come back to mountaineering now, and since we're speaking about mountaineering, how was the global reaction? How was the reaction from the mountaineering community when they got to know that you've summited Nanga Parbat, you've done all 9 peaks, you'll be going to summit, inshallah, all the 14 peaks as well.
Inshallah.
How was it? How was the global reaction?
It's been very, very positive.
MashaAllah.
It's been very positive from both men and women from all around the world, even from Pakistan. It was nice to see that people were celebrating it. People that have climbed it understand how difficult it is, and the people that haven't have done research. I sent as I summited, I remember I sent a message to my friends and family, and I said to them, summited, safe, coming back down, like simple messages. And when I opened my WhatsApp as I came back down, I saw that my friends already done the research of what Nanga Parbat was, where it is, how big it is, how dangerous it is, have already done the research and put it on the group just to let people to let the group understand what was happening. And for me, that's what's important, right? At the end of the day, the more people explore, the more you show that there's a lot more to the world than what we have. It inspires everyone, and to me, it was really nice to see that positive outcome.
Exactly, and because of this positive outcome, I do believe that people, even back home, would want to learn more about mountaineering route. So not just your friends in your WhatsApp groups, or or other groups as well, but there will be children who would want to kind of learn from your excellency. Indeed. So how do you think that you would want to bring such awareness programs to Qatar? Probably, that Pakistan actually is home to 8,000 plus peaks, and it's beautiful.
Yes, for me, it's I've always been doing school talks. So I believe that the younger generation, the more you show them there's more to the world than where they are. Some of them have never seen mountains before, and some of them have. But showcasing that to them is very, very important. So I would continue doing that, of course. and hopefully be able to tell my story in different ways as well.
Probably bring back a lot of children to Pakistan. You know,
Maybe,
so I think
maybe.
that can be,
That could be an option.
or probably
for
just
sure.
to base camps, so just to let them know what it is all about. Because over here in Pakistan, it's more raw. That's one thing that I've always been very
Yes.
fascinated, or I've loved, because when you go to Nepal, it's more organized.
Yes.
You know, it's very different. You know, so obviously every mountain that you would want to summit will bring different challenges. But over here in Pakistan, you know, the rawness of it actually kind of
stunning.
at times scares me as well. But
It does, but it's stunning. It's beautiful. It's like you feel like because there's not many people, it's untouched. But the route to it, the people that you meet on the way, is just it's amazing.
exactly, it's just second to none. So I mean, it's not just even Nanga Parbat. You've even submitted K2. I mean,
K2 is my favorite, one of my
that's
favorite
not even
mountains.
simple. I mean, I don't know. It might sound very simple while we're talking about it, but
Yes.
the lady who herself, you know, Her Excellency has actually done it. I mean, she can share whether how it felt while she was out there, and when she felt like as if I cannot take the next step, I cannot go down, I need to stay here or just leave me here. I mean, I'm beyond words to kind of express whether how difficult it is for people, because I've met so many mountaineers. Satpara Sahib happens to be one of them. The late Satpara has actually been
Yes.
one of those people. So go ahead, you say
It
whatever
is-
you would want to say.
listen, each mountain has its own flavor. Each mountain has its own experience, and some people find other mountains harder than the other, and it's all personal because of your body conditions, of the weather. For me, K2, I believe I was very, very lucky. I had great weather. But I loved K2 because it was not only ice, it was not only rocks, it was everything all happening at once. So your brain was 100% on as you were climbing. Because you climb for hours, 6-7 hours at a time, right? So sometimes you phase out as you're climbing. But on K2, you can't phase out. You're on your toes.
And when, God forbid, if you do phase out, you know, people who've actually submitted K2 just like you, they do say at times that, you know, there is a time when you start to feel weak, when you start to hallucinate, when
Yes.
you see things, when you
Yes.
start to see things. Has something like this ever happened to you?
Yes, that happened to me in Annapurna actually.
Okay.
I think with Annapurna it was quite, like I said, a very, very difficult climb. But I was aware that I was hallucinating because I started to realize that because I thought I was in the desert, but then I'm not in the desert. And then I realized that I was hallucinating. So in my brain I was aware, but I kept on going through that process. For me, it was like just letting my climbing partner know that
That this
I'm
is happening.
hallucinating.
Yeah.
Just stay close because we need to get down to Camp 3. But that's one of the things. Some people have it more severe. But I was glad that I was able to experience it, but at the same time understand how my body was reacting to it and how my brain was reacting to
I
it.
think it's wonderful, and certainly because, you know, you have a family documentary made which actually inspires you and you go back to it every time. Do you
Yes.
think that in days to come you will be documenting what you've done by far?
So
Do you think there'll be a time that you'll be writing
Yes,
a book?
I believe that. I've been documenting it so far. I've been documenting since day one.
Okay.
I've got all the content for the climb. It's just a matter of once I am done, because right now, because I have so many mountains I want to climb, I'm taking it one mountain at a time. So I don't see myself in the next 2 years. I see myself by next month, what would I have achieved. So I'm really making it smaller steps in a sense. A lot that's going to happen in that next month,
Yep.
but I'm taking it that way to be able
One
to
step at a
achieve
time.
one step at a time. But I've been collecting, and it's just a matter of
time.
deciding when and how I'm going to tell that story.
So for our audiences who are out there, what time? Probably 2026, 27?
Not sure yet.
All right, so,
Not sure yet.
So you're not sure, that's fine, that's totally your call. How do
Yes.
you know, when you go to the base camp, okay, let's not say base camp, when you go back home to your family after such a tiring expedition or a summit, how do you unwind? Do you sit down? Do you relax for a while? Is it like a downtime for 5-6 days?
Not really, but my family know when I'm coming home. I crave kerek and home food. So once they know it's the day that I'm coming home, it's all set up. So for me, that coming into that is very good. But most of the time, I'll be going back into work straight away, not even taking a day off, unless I've arrived on the weekend.
Okay.
But it takes me time to mentally get back into track. But I find myself coming back to work and getting back into that routine pulls me out of it straight away. Not straight away, but takes me out of it. If I give myself more breaks, I will just literally stay in my room and not leave.
Do you ever come across a day or a time where it's you sipping on your cup of coffee and thinking, how did I even do that?
Yes, all the time.
And then what do you tell yourself?
I honestly say I don't understand that I actually went through. So my fall on Nanga Parbat, I'm still thinking about how did that happen. I don't remember it anymore, but I'm still in pain when I touch my arm, so I know it's there.
Yeah. That I've done it.
That I've done it. But after a while, I become even more grateful for our bodies, like what God has given us. Allah has given us so much power, so much strength, and we're so lucky to have our arms, our hands, our feet intact, right? And some people don't have that. But for example, I have it, and I become even more grateful for it because those legs have taken me up Everest, those arms have taken me up Nanga Parbat. Like, I realize that I have that power, and for me, that's it just reminds me of that and reminds me to be thankful and grateful to have that.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for reminding us that as well, you know, and it comes obviously from you, for someone who's actually achieved so much. What are you going to say to all of those women and girls who are actually listening to us today, and you know, they've heard about your journey, they've known how you really need to have a purpose in life, you need to stay true to your purpose, always go back to it, reflect upon that. What would you say to all of those women who are listening to you today?
I would say that your dreams matter. Everything that you dream is possible once you set your mind to it, and if you really do want to, just go for it. Be persistent towards it, be determined towards it, and it's not going to come easy. You do have to prioritize, but it is doable if you set your mind to it.
Exactly. And very quickly towards the end, there are two more things that I would want to ask. First of all, how would you want to explain in your words, how did you feel about the mountains over here in Pakistan and the hospitality?
So for me, the mountains of Pakistan are, I would say, raw beauty. It's beautiful. The way to the mountains is beautiful. The people you meet in the mountains are amazing and very hospitable. And for me, it felt like being home. I never, you know, when people feel like they miss home, I do miss home all the time, but being around a culture that is very hospitable, feel like family, took that away.
I think that's very kind of you. Thank you so much for saying that very quickly towards the end, because we're here in Islamabad. Just a few food recommendations. I don't know whether if you have tried biryani or whether you have tried nihari. Have you tried some of the cuisine over here?
I've tried some of the traditional cooked meat and I fell in love. Like, wow. I still crave that. There's a bit of taste that reminds me of home. And I was invited to one of the climbers' homes after I came back from the mountains, which showcases that hospitality. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Sheikha Asma Al Thani, for being with us, for taking our time, and for inspiring millions of lives who are out there as well. Thank you so much for your kind time. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for taking our time and joining us over here at the PT World Studios. I think this one interview will ever be green in my memory, because imagine that you get to see such people who have not just gone beyond their limit, but they have done that because they've had a purpose to inspire millions of lives globally. Thank you so much. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I pray and I hope that that there will be a time, inshallah, towards the end of 2025, that you will be the first ever Arab lady who has actually summited all the 14 8,000 plus peaks. Inshallah. For everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of words of inspiration and wisdom, it's time for me to say goodbye. Look after yourselves. Good morning. Jummah Mubarak. Thank you so much.